congrats, my friend. Another win. How we feeling? We're feeling, obviously, both of us also sucked in race 2. That was tough. But race 1, let's focus on that one.
Thanks, man. It was so good to see you on the podium. It was really, really cool, really. It was great to have you join me and Will. And, I could say it's been a while for you, so I know it was a great feeling. And, man, I mean, race 2, we had another shot. I really think I had another shot in it.
Same.
That day, that Sunday ended like a little bit of what St. Louis felt like for me. Just couldn't do really anything besides box and get out of the car because there was something wrong with it. And
punch wheel.
It's a bummer. It really is a bummer because it was another opportunity to get some good points or at least get another opportunity to maybe win, but. That's racing. I feel like Milwaukee weekend reminds me and just shows me exactly what 2024 has been for me. Like in 24 hours from like a great race to the next one, like there's no chance to really do anything. And that's what 24 season has been for me.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard, like the 2 races in a weekend. It's very hard to like really enjoy the first one because all of a sudden, I had the clutch fail on me. Like we were like 14 laps down. So like the same thing, you feel like you have a really fast car. We're like, let's get another one. And then obviously, things hit the fan, as they say. But let's talk about race 1 because I thought the racing was way better than what people were expecting. I thought the track was, I honestly went into that race. I was like, I don't like this track. I think it's going to be terrible. But I was completely wrong. Would you agree the racing was way better than you expected?
I would agree. I was proven wrong after seeing what the test was like. And it was a great race. I really think it was a bit of a hybrid between St. Louis and Iowa, but I think a lot closer to St. Louis. Like, that second lane did open up. People could get through traffic, and like that's what makes short oval racing in IndyCar so fun for us, for the fans. The fans showed up. I thought it was an amazing turnout, and Pato shop was booming, so it was super cool to see that. And it was just Pato shop, baby.
This guy's making more money on merch than I've ever made in my whole career as a racing driver. I love it.
But it was such a cool turnout. Like, I mean, when we were on the podium, man, like the energy of all the fans was freaking awesome.
That was great.
And it was just a really, really cool event. And I stand with you. I got proven wrong, and it was way better than what I thought it was going to be. And I'm glad I got proven wrong because those are way better than the ones where you expect so much and then it's like,
Yeah, I agree. But also talk about qualifying too, because you're like watching your onboard in qualifying is like watching a psycho do some crazy work out there. But because the track was like neither end was flat, so you're as a driver you're having to work really hard to make the speed and to take advantage of the new tire. And can you tell like us a little bit about what your team was looking at? Like, hey, we think we have a good qualifying car, but we know we have a good race car, or what was your focus?
So for me, it ended up being the opposite of what I thought it was going to be. So I thought for qualifying, I knew what I had. I was like, I think I can put this in a top 3, top 5 at least. I was a little bit short of that, but the last qualifying sim that I had the day prior to that, I was very loose, but pretty quick. So I was like, I don't want to move around too much because I much rather like deal with it for 2 laps, but like get 2 very strong laps on the board rather than just, plow with understeer. But I feel like I was a culprit of, getting caught up. Like, cause it's just, man, the track changes, it changes.
Yeah.
It gets hotter. And like, look at Dixon. Dixon was super strong in the practice. And then he goes out in qualifying and he basically goes exactly through the same that I went to. I managed to pull out 2 decent laps to be within the top 10, but like it was definitely kind of like Would we have changed something if I were to do it again? I don't know, because I think I would have done the same, because you don't know where the track's going to go. And like, you think it's going to expose it, but sometimes it goes the opposite. And like, that's the tough thing with IndyCar. Just we didn't have anything to have a read before qualifying. So it's kind of like, well, just really feel out where the car is and feel the limit of the car. And if it goes over, well, just don't crash it and try and see where you're at. So it was kind of like that. And then in the race, like I started exploring. I started exploring with different lines, and the lower one started working really well for me. So I was like, this is where I'm going, and this is where I'm going to stick to it. But then other people started finding it, so then that way started kind of going through the route, like not. You
like the low line, huh? You were a low line guy.
I did, yeah. One? My car liked the low line, and I would get through traffic with the low line, but then traffic started seeing that I was using the low line, and it started blocking and taking the air from me, and then I was getting stuck. So then towards the end of the race, it was pretty gnarly, I would say. Like, it was tough to keep Will behind me.
Yeah, so can you tell us a little bit about your Sunday evening? What did that involve? Like, I'll tell you about my last night, if we can co-share. This is for the show.
Well, look, I was rushing to the plane. And
Roger plane, nice, or the Penske
plane?
No,
I flew commercial home. So so big commercial guy.
Tough week, dude.
Rolled into a bar and at the airport in Milwaukee, and basically most of my team were there, from that, like the sticker guys and my spotter and everyone. So polished a couple of 20-ounce spotted cows, which are fantastic, and felt pretty good going on the plane. Very much. I'm about 10 minutes from the airport in Charlotte, so I just Uber anyway. So I was like, okay, well, let's have a bit of fun. And then when I got on the plane, half of it was full of IndyCar people.
Oh,
and, dear. The flight attendants got word of it, and then they were just sort of feeding me, and it was a lot of fun. We had a blast, and then I got home, and obviously, I watched the race back and enjoyed it, and just with Carly. Carly, she's stone cold sober, obviously being a highly pregnant woman. She
has to deal with you.
Yeah. So I poured myself a couple of nice Weller bourbons, and just enjoyed the night.
That sounds wonderful, honestly. What a great way to celebrate winning. I hope I get to experience that at some point.
You will. If you drive like you did on the weekend, you will. Good Lord.
Well, that was fun. It is a shame that you didn't join me on the podium there, Scott, because I think that would have been a great time. But boy, Will and I had a great time up there.
Oh, you did definitely. If you're gonna have a podium with someone, you've got to have a podium with a friend, and that was awesome. I was happy for you, but I had a terrible race. But I actually learned a lot. I learned a lot of watching some of your moves on the weekend, and I thought I took a lot of what you did into Sunday's race, which helped me. So thank you.
I lost the element of surprise on Sunday, that's for sure. It was and someone ruined the start too. So that obviously didn't help for my outside moves, because then we were single file.
Single file.
It's a real shame.
Greg Williams Mountie style, dude.
Yeah. When we went to start the second one, I'm like, hey, are we going to be single file? And in the back of my mind, I was like, I was kind of quietly fist pumping, but
I was not happy about that. Well, let's talk about the weekend. So obviously, I thought going into it, I think both Chase and I had picked Penske as a dominant factor, because low grip surface. Usually, you guys do well in short ovals, no matter what. But I feel like you guys just have the ability to produce grip at a very high level. You guys execute at a high level. So I thought it was actually kind of all over the place. There were, some people were good. We had McLaren, obviously, with Pato. You had Will with some good stuff. The Ganassis were up and down. Scott Dixon somehow always ends up on the podium at some point. But was it an interesting weekend was it different than what you thought it was going to be going into it?
I knew how competitive it would be, just because it's been a new track for everyone. I think, it's hard to get an idea, and the tyres had changed since we tested there, as you know, and whatnot. So going into it, the quali car and our car at a very high pace was obviously really good, and we got a pole and whatnot, and started the race, and the first stint went really well, and then this is on Saturday, and then we caught traffic, and as soon as the pace slowed down, like 2 or 3 seconds, my car was really bad.
Really?
Wow. Yeah, and I couldn't do anything compared to it. Like Linus, who was with me at the start of the race, he was really good in traffic. I mean, Pato, the McLaren boys, yourself, and all three Penske cars in the race, we struggled with exactly the same issue. So, or similar issues. So,
was the track, could you guys not move around as much as you thought? Like only using one lane, couldn't go low, couldn't go as high as you wanted?
Couldn't really do anything, man. I was just really holding on for dear life. And as you can understand, like that's the worst feeling on an oval, because you just have no maneuverability. You can't sort of put your car where you want to go. So basically from lap 75, 80 onwards, I was just in survival mode basically halfway through stint. So I went after the Saturday's race. Me and Benny had a massive debrief about a lot of things, and not only that, I needed to do better stuff driving wise. The team needed to be better in strategy. Car needed to be a little bit better as well. It was just it was a really bad race, but the best thing about a doubleheader is being able to rebound, and that's exactly what we did on Sunday. And like, I looked at a lot of footage yourself. I looked at Pato's footage like overnight, and then just had a big debrief with Benny. Like, even when the garage closed, he went back to his hotel. I was still texting him, figuring out like, all right, this is what I need. And it was just a really good team effort.